This week's element is element number 8, previewing new content. The desired effect of previewing is to have students link prior knowledge to new content. Now watch as Miss Donna Porter from Double Branch Elementary deepens our knowledge on this element.
When you're previewing, what you're doing is you are showing the children what they're going to be learning, but you need to go back and make sure that you're making those connections to prior learning so that it's all fitting together for them. In this lesson that you're about to see, my students have been working on text talk, main idea, summarizing, and my goal was to make it all fit together for them so that they could see how it's layered upon and scaffolding that learning so that when I get to central message that they will be able to use all of that prior knowledge to be able to use central message. Okay, class?
Yes.
You ready to learn something new today?
Yes.
Okay. But before we do, we want to go back, before we preview that new information, we're going to go back to our prior knowledge, all the things that we have learned up until now. Correct?
Yes.
We've learned a lot of things so far, haven't we, about text?
Yes.
I brought this little bag, these bags, so that we can kind of unpack our thinking, okay? And what we've learned and our knowledge so far. So the first thing that we did is we learned how to talk about text, right?
Yes.
So that each of you can say now, I can talk about text. When we learned to talk about text, we learned that we could ask questions, remember?
Yes.
And then, more importantly, answer them with what do we need when we answer our questions? Speak it. Toss it.
Evidence.
We have to be able to support our evidence. Use our evidence has to be able to support our thinking. So then the next thing, who remembers what the next thing was? Whisper to your shoulder buddy before I take it out.
I think it's like that. It's like if we're moving it to find the
What was the next thing we learned?
because you see all the rope. That's right.
And it was kind of difficult at first when we started doing that. How's to do about details? No, even before infancy, way back. Dylan. Yeah, and whether they were what? We had, remember the T-chart that we had? And what did the T-chart say on one side?
Yes.
Interesting.
Key.
During previewing, it's important that the students interact with one another so that they can validate their thinking and hear the thinking of others, things that they might not see in the text or infer their partner might. And so it's such a learning experience for both of them. Big word here today that I know you're going to know what this big word means. It's if I can differentiate between important details and interesting details in the text I read. And we all learned how to do that, correct?
Yes.
When we read the book Thunder Cake and we figured out what the key details were and what the interesting ones were. Who remembers an interesting one from that book that you read? Mika?
That she was afraid of the thunder.
Well, that was the key
Key
detail. Can you remember what a interesting one?
That they made thunder cake.
And what was one of the ingredients they used in it?
Strawberries.
Yeah, that was just interesting. Did it make the whole story?
No.
Okay, thinks they know what the next thing we learned? Who can remember what the next thing we learned to do? So we learned to talk about text, ask and answer questions. Then we learned about the details, whether they were important or interesting. I think I heard it.
Since we are linking prior knowledge to new content that is about to be taught, we would consider this activity previewing. If we were in a new lesson and trying to recall facts about a previous lesson, we would be in reviewing. This is a subtle difference, and you could make the assumption that she is doing both at the same time, since she is deepening knowledge on previous content, but explicitly trying to preview new content by making links with that she just completed.
The next bag, correct? Say it again, Sarah. Okay. We're going to preview it today, this new learning. We just reflected on everything that we have learned so far. Text talk, correct? And details, and summarizing, and inferencing. I didn't pull that one out. I need to pull that one out. Let's read this one. I can use my schema and clues from the text to read inferences. Okay? So the last one, are you excited?
Yes.
Okay. All the colors. It's kind of fancy, isn't it? And I kind of made a fancy bag for it because I think it is one of the most important things that you're going to learn. Okay? And all those other things that you've learned so far this year, it's going to help you with this one, okay? The question for this lesson is, how can I use all my prior knowledge, making inferencing, all of that, to determine the central message of a story? You ready? Okay. Ooh. First of all, we've never heard about central message. Have we talked about that? No. It is something. I need to give you a definition of what a central message is first, okay? So, it's sort of like a message in a bottle. And sometimes it's called theme. Sometimes I'll say the theme of the story. So let's read it together. The central message. What the author wants you to learn or know. A broad idea about life. Usually not stated, must be inferred. Where did you hear infer? What kind of word? What word does that go with?
Let's go with that. You understand?
What does word does inferred go with that we've been learning about?
This one
Inferences.
I
Who thinks they're ready to make inferences and determine the central message? Okay? All right. We're going to try it out today.
To review this element and the lesson we just viewed, let's consider what the teacher did. Mrs. Porter began the lesson by telling the students they were going to review their prior knowledge to preview new content. She did this by literally unpacking bags with the prior content they learned, setting it up for the final bag to reveal the new content. This sets her up perfectly to begin the lesson. As an extension activity with your professional learning community, see if you can find any elements in Design Question 5 engaging students that this teacher employed during the lesson.